Alrighty, just We the People News. One more time at it. Okay? Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Educational purposes only. Alright. Never look just straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Use that Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Okay? And this video is, and I didn't do it last time, N-A-T-A-L-I-E, the other word, R-O-S-E, other word, M-A-R-T-I-N. Okay? And we talked about commercial and all that kind of stuff. Now, I want to go also a step further, y'all. So, there's pirates out there, y'all. Still today, but there's always been pirates out there. Okay? And what do? They're actual, real criminals. Okay? They have rustled up a ship, a boat, whatever it may be, and by the threat of force, they go and plunder and steal the other vessel, boat, ship, or confiscate the whole thing, all right, for their trophy. Okay? Well, that's pirates. Okay? Now, on the land, what do we call them? Because you hear YouTube always, people on YouTube, they're pirates, officers, pirates, and this, that, here, and there. Well, no, they're highwaymen. Okay? Because it's on the land. And pirates is on the seas. Okay? Now, highwaymen was armed criminals that plundered and confiscated the stagecoach, robbed the stagecoach, all these things, right? It's the exact same principle as what they did on the sea. But since they do that, and they are classified criminals, okay, when an officer, while you're peacefully with your family on a boat fishing, right? But they come out and issue a ticket or your compensation of your boat because you didn't have the correct, give me your papers, right? Get a permission slip to use your boat on your water. Okay, they act like they own the water. Well, it belongs to right here. It don't belong to the government. I understand the concept, okay? But if an officer is doing the exact same thing but called an officer as the pirate, and the pirate's called a pirate, but doing the exact same thing as the officer, well, it automatically makes them both criminals because they're doing the exact same thing but under a different name. If an officer, by the threat of arms, pull you over and issues a ticket, which is theft of money, right? Or they're going to put you in captivity and ask your family for ransom, which they call a bond, right? And then they may go ahead and take what we call today your automobile / your stagecoach, without a warrant, by the way. But that's exactly the same thing what highwaymen did. So, if a highwayman is a criminal, but the officer is doing the exact same thing as the highwayman is doing, but they're doing it in two different names, and a highwayman is actually a criminal, what makes that officer any difference? because there's alleged authority out there to violate your constitutional right because some type of king in black robes said they could do it, that violated your constitutional rights to benefit the government because they are too busy operating in this right here instead of in this right here. Your rights is right here. You're begging permissions right here. Okay? Constitutional right standing is right here. Subjects are all right here. They're all subjects.
Derives common law from natural law. There are two laws in the common law, and they are do no harm and do not trespass. That's it. It's very simple. And as I said, common law is derived from natural law, which is derived from God's law. So we can kind of see the progression there. So here we are, living men and women of the living soil of the earth, on the land, in the private. And so the systems and structures that emerge in
Howard versus Hinkle.
This jurisdiction include private membership associations, which are also called PMAs, express trusts. Remember, trusts originate in the ecclesiastical jurisdiction, and as we express them, they shift into the jurisdiction of land, of common law. So express trusts exist in the common law. In the common law, or in the jurisdiction of the land, we are living men and women. Living men and women. I know I've said that a bunch of times. It's really important. We are living men and women living on the land. In this jurisdiction, we go by our given name plus our family name, right? So that would be, for me, it would be Natalie Rose at the House of Martin. That would be capital N, lowercase, the rest of my name, capital R, lowercase, the rest of the name, capital M, lowercase, the rest of the name. And that's called capitis medius, and that's distinguishing me as a living woman. I am a living woman, Natalie Rose at the House of Martin. And you can add that, the house of, or not. The lowercase letters is the really important part here, right? So given name plus family name. And on the land, we are people. We are living men and women. We are known as people. We the people, the one of the people. We are a people. Okay, this is really important. In the jurisdiction of...
That being said, I do disagree with that part, right? Because men, for my belief, okay, of my education, not anybody else's, men and women are from them, okay? And we're all men and women. The people is actually political power over our government, all right? The person is subject to the government, okay? So political power, subjects.
And we exchange goods and services. We exchange goods and services. And there can be a medium of exchange, a currency involved, but it's an exchange. If you were to find yourself interacting with the court system from this jurisdiction, the case would be governed by equity. In the jurisdiction of land, there are two laws. There are do no harm and do not trespass. And if harm is done, remedy must be made. So this looks like if you damage your neighbor's property, then you fix your neighbor's property. There's no punishment in common law. There's no punitive damages. There's just make it right. So again, we can take the wisdom that we've developed in interpersonal relationships and just zoom it out.
Now, let's take even in common law. We have the right to access court to get a remedy if we cannot settle with our neighbors, right? Because our neighbors say, all right, well, you broke one of my trees, so I want you to give 2 trees. Well, no. We're placing what we owe you. All right. There's no profit or gains or anything like that. It's equal exchange. What benefits you benefits me and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So that is in the common law, you're not supposed to actually pay the courts. Now, what you are paying for is the commercial, right? Walmart sues McDonald's. Okay? Well, that's what you're paying. Your person is suing that person. Commercial. Okay? Over here, you to access the court for free because it's our courtroom. It's not the judge. Judges don't own that courtroom. That is the people's remedy. That is the men and women's remedy. Okay? That is our rights. Okay? And that's what the court's for. That's the reason why earlier I said common law still has civil in it, but it's still under the common law civil, not the corporation civil.
To social and cultural relationships, right? So we know if we hurt the feelings of someone we love, we need to make a repair, right? We need to make an emotional repair. We need to make it right, right? So if we cause damage or harm to someone in our social cultural sphere, we need to make a repair. We need to make remedy, sort of like dissolving karma before it crystallizes, right? So we keep things moving and balanced and clear. So being governed by equity highlights that process of making remedy.
And what I did a video on about the officers, and when I say officers, I'm talking about all officers. The magistrate courts, the judges, your government officials, all of them are officers, okay? So it's overall officers. The 1971 or 1871 Civil Rights Act, right? Did not give them qualified immunity. And you can make claims against them. Why? Because officers that robbed your stagecoach and took it away from you and your family and caused you harm, loss, and damages by the threat of force because they became highwaymen, right? They wasn't allowed to be highwaymen. And when they came in and violated or usurpation against you and caused trespass of harm upon you and your family, well, this common law right here still held them responsible even under the Congress 1970 or 1871 Civil Rights Act. Okay? It don't apply here because they got protections. They got immunities. Over here, they don't have immunities. That's the reason why judges and all them was supposed to own land. If he went out and caused you harm by way of trespass in common law, you go ahead and put a lien on his property until he gave you remedy, as well as your local representatives of the state.
If when we're so lucky to be holding our own common law grand juries and common law courts, equity is how disputes would be resolved. So I see that for living men and women living on the land, in connection with God, living our creatorship, having dominion over our creation, is the proper jurisdiction for we the people. This is where we belong. Now, somewhere along the way, as we became a global society, it became necessary to develop.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and end it here because I yelled too much. Now, just a reminder, y'all, without my interruptions, you can go ahead and go to her YouTube channel. All right? And I suggest you do because I'm not going to be able to do all things all times. So go ahead and check her out, okay? because this is actually good information. And she's pretty much right on cue of my research, not yours. D Sweetie People News. Bye, y'all.